Chicagoland Speedway for the third time in the Jimmy John's Freaky Fast 300. Just shy of halfway, Tanner Berryhill brushed the wall in the 17 car, and a caution flag has come out for that young man. Pace cars captured the field. Pit road going to be open this time. Kyle Busch will lead him down. So far, the 54 team 2 for 2 on holding the lead on pit stops.
Get it done on a regular basis.
They'll all get a third shot at it here, Dave.
Third place, Kyle Larson, a little bit freer as it's sunnier throughout the afternoon. They can't change that, but they will make a slight air pressure adjustment to try to help him out. 4 tires for Kyle Larson. Doc?
Chase Elliott said, still need rear grip. Going to be a half a pound air pressure change right front, quarter round and left rear, 4 tires, so no go fuel. Jamie?
Kevin Harvick says he's a little too free, but the car comes back to him pretty well. Air pressure adjustment wedge on both sides at Tate. Vince?
Kyle Busch has led all but 9 laps. He says it's getting a little tighter center to exit, especially in 1 and 2. 4 tire change, a slight air pressure adjustment, and easily the first one off pit road.
Make it 3 for 3 for the 54 team. That's just 2 tires on the Ross Chastain team to gain those 13 positions.
Yeah, Regan Smith's team, though, is keeping him in this race because he has gained a lot of spots on pit road. Sure has, every time.
So yellow flag out when Tanner Berryhill got up against the wall in his 17 car. We're back for the restart in a minute.
Saturday Night Football presented by Wells Fargo. Butch Jones and his young Tennessee squad with a big test tonight. They face senior quarterback Trevor Knight and the number 4 Oklahoma Sooners in Norman. It's the Vols and the Sooners, 8 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Big test tonight in college football. Big test tomorrow in the Sprint Cup Series. It's race 1 of the Chase from Chicagoland Speedway. I bring up tomorrow's race because this afternoon in the Nationwide Series race, we have 4 Chase drivers. 2 of them are leading the way right now. Kyle Busch is out front. Kevin Harvick is in 2nd. Denny Hamlin right now is in 10th. And then we have Eric Almirola in 15th. Are they getting what they need today to make tomorrow into a successful day?
I think they really are, Nicole. This is a great warm-up. I mean, hey, if you go out there to track you're going to run on and start the chase at and kind of knock the bugs off and get going, I think it's a big thing. Folks, you got to remember one thing. Tomorrow's race is a big, big race. It's chase number 1. This is a very important race. And, Brad, if you can go out there and get a little extra track time, man, I'm all for it.
Yeah, especially for Hamlin and Almirola. This is one-off opportunities to get that extra track time, get a little bit of extra practice on pit road. Pit road's going to be vital tomorrow. They're getting all the reps everywhere.
And get an extra practice on the restart, which is happening right now.
Going to get 3 wide for the front. Kyle Larson dropping down to the bottom. Can't make it stick.
Kyle Busch forced him right there to make a decision. Was he going to stick it in there and possibly have a lot of contact, or was Kyle Larson going to back out? He chose to back out. Now we're 3 wide again with Chase Elliott there.
Big run to turn 3.
Not going to get clear, though.
Nine led that lap. I only point that out because if we get a late restart on each of the 3 restarts now, the first lap after the greens been led by somebody else other than Kyle Busch, though he's quickly come back and reclaimed the top spot.
Yeah, it looks like that's why they're putting such a big run on him. They know that's the only time he's vulnerable.
Whoa, Harvick.
Well, that was close. The car hit a bump, and he turned sideways almost into Chase Elliott right there. That's a nice save there. That could have been very costly to that junior motorsport clear and the points leader.
Coming back, holding it tight, door, even. 42 pushing you. Big push, hold.
Yeah, I bet that's the last thing you want to do if you're Kevin Harvick is wreck Chase Elliott, your teammate and championship leader. Well, Harvick gathered it back up. Now hanging on to 3rd, Kyle Larson falls back to 4th after that squeeze into turn 1 when he made the 3 wide look. And now Brian Scott back into the top 5 behind these two.
Now, these teams have had 3 opportunities to make adjustments, and I'm waiting to see which one has adjusted it enough to maybe catch Kyle Busch and get him, challenge him. So far, we haven't seen anybody able to do that.
Denny Hamlin, Regan Smith, 20 and 7. 7th and 8th places here.
Regan Smith's pit crew has gained him 12 spots on pit road. That's really kind of kept him in contention. His car is not great, but that pit crew is definitely helping.
Remember, Smith said that he talked about seeking redemption in this race because their run here in July in the first race of this season for the Nationwide Series at this track was just abysmal. And they came here looking for more, said they've had this one circled on their calendar ever since they left here. It hasn't exactly been stellar, but it's been a bit better than it was in July.
Yeah, certainly. They've run a little bit better, but on the other side of that, even when your car is not that good, when your pit crew can do the kind of job that they're doing, that gives you a boost as a driver, and you just continue to want to make the car better and do a better job for them, and that's nice that the pit crew can pick you up on days whenever things aren't going exactly the way you want to inside the race car.
Well, it's kind of a threefold game. You get the gain of spots on pit road, you get the confidence from the driver, but also you get to run a little bit cleaner air every time you gain those spots. So this is a big deal that crew is doing what they're doing today.
So watching Regan Smith at work. Now, some other things from the round of pit stops. Remember, I called Ross Chastain's team taking just 2 tires. He got busted for speeding exiting pit road, so they lost everything there. And Paul Menard was on pit road a couple times, and for a long time, Dave.
They finally given up on trying to tweak the car to make that front end where they want it to be. So they spent a lot of time working on the front end geometry, the shocks, and trying to get them in the right place. So they had the hood up to do that. And Paul so far trying to drive it back through traffic. We'll see what he has after a few laps here.
Went all the way back, as you saw, to 26th place, just past James Busher for 18th on that lap. Brian Scott started on pole in the 2. Lost some ground earlier, trying to rally back, looking for 4th place on Kyle Larson.
We've seen Brian Scott kind of evolve as a driver, just become more solid week in and week out. We saw him when he first started, even into the second year in the Nationwide Series, to where when he had fast cars, he was prone to make some mistakes, trying to get a little too much out of it at times and too much out of himself. And we've seen that change a lot with him. He's gotten better cars, better information, and doing a tremendous job. Very, very solid race driver now in this Nationwide Series, week in and week out.
5th in the championship coming in, says this is a great stretch of races for him to try and get that first win. Richmond last week here, Kentucky, Dover, finished top 5 last week, running top 5 today. It's the Jimmy John's Freaky Fast 300 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series from Chicagoland Speedway, with a reminder to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. A little bit past halfway in this one, Kyle Busch has dominated so far. He's led 100 of the 113 laps that we've completed. Given up the lead a couple of times on restarts, but as we go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance, Vince, this 54 sure has been good so far.
Well, Alan, even as dominant as it's been today, it's hard to top last week at Richmond, where the 54 led every lap in what crew chief Adam Stevens says will probably be the most dominant day he'll ever experience his entire career. And I said, well, Adam, you're still young. You got a lot of racing left. He said, everything that could have gone went our way last week. You don't get many of those. Well, they're pretty solid again today, although Kyle says it's just a little bit tighter than the last run. Jamie?
And behind him is Kevin Harvick. His car has been loose today. They've been adjusting on it every run. And this last stop, they made a wedge adjustment and air pressure. Kevin said he didn't like that, but he's moving around to help the balance. And he said the further up he goes, the tighter the car gets. So it's coming to him. Doc?
And back behind them, the 18-year-old points leader in Phenom, Chase Elliott. There's a 9 car. And Chase said when the race began, the car was tight and getting tighter. They told him to use the apron to get the car to turn, which he promptly did, and the car turned well. Then the car lacked rear grip. He changed the line in turn 3 and 4, and that helped the car. Recently, an air pressure change has made the car the best it has been all day. Dave.
In talking to me about Kyle Larson's chances today, crew chief Scott Zipadelli said, yeah, these mile-and-a-half tracks are definitely in Kyle's wheelhouse. He gets to search around for lines and does well with that. But our cars are just better on tracks like these. His car is just a little bit loose right now. They need to make another adjustment, Vince.
Well, the two of Brian Scott started on pole, led 5 laps, but he has slipped back a bit now, running 5th. Car's just been losing grip. That's been the issue. Just doesn't have the side bite, as you saw him slide through the corner there, that Brian's been looking for. 5th in points, but they're only 15 out of 3rd coming into the day. It's been a good season so far for Brian Scott.
All right, Vince, so look at the top 5 there. Then for 6th place, little race for position here. Ty Dillon in the 3, and Denny Hamlin, the rallying Denny Hamlin. Well, actually, both of them rallying after problems that had them make extra pit stops earlier in the race.
Yeah, I think they've helped that 3 car a lot. They struggled with that flutter they had in that splitter, even in qualifying and practice, but they've got it fixed, and I think his car's a lot better now.
Yeah, they both restarted that one restart back there together after making a couple of pit stops during that caution, and made, as you said, they've rallied back and got themselves in a good position, and Denny Hamlin's going to take this 6th spot away now.
A check in on the 20 with Jamie.
Well, what's more impressive than just rallying back after that bad pit stop, Denny Hamlin, it's been about 30 laps now. He said he smells oil burning and he actually sees smoke in the car. And the motor is popping, the engine is popping, but they're not losing any ground. So they said, stay out as long as you can. As long as we're making up ground and passing cars, let's stay out. Doc?
You mentioned the double stop for the 3 in the last yellow flag with the loose splitter and the vibration in the front of the car. They did get the splitter fixed. They do have the bare bond. That's the black tape on the front of the splitter there. And after restarting back at 24th, he's been battling a tight race car all day. It's not nearly as tight as it was. Getting a little more tight right now. That's why Hamlin able to get by. Alan?
All right, Doc, thanks. So Ty Dillon running in 7th, Elliott Sadler 8th, Regan Smith 9th, Ryan Blaney 10th. And the 3rd position has just changed hands. Kyle Larson moving up in the 42, and Chase Elliott sliding back 1 in the 9.
Chase Elliott in that 9 kind of searching around, trying to find some speed. It's like he's lost a little bit of the handle. I don't know if he ran his car too hard there, and maybe the car was a little bit on the tight side and abused the right front tire a little bit, but he's been slipping back.
Trevor Baynes 6, Ryan Blaney 22, Regan Smith 7, 9th, 10th, and 11th positions.
Blaney got caught up on that last restart. He restarted 8th, but got put in the middle and fell all the way back to 15th. So now he's trying to work his way back into the top 10. It's been a struggle for this young man here today, though.
Right there, too. Got in the wall a little bit. So chase that car up the hill. Just a little like that.
Easily happens as you're full bore coming off the corner and car kind of slides up in front, takes that little bit of air away, and the nose just gets out there and you can't get out of the gas quick enough.
That is Matt DiBenedetto's car that is off the pace down the backstretch, appearing to be without power. We're still under green for the moment. Looking to see if he's going to make it all the way back around to the pit lane. Mentioned the Penske 22, and Andy, you asked Jeremy Bullins about that owner's points or team championship and the tight fight they're locked in with Joe Gibbs' 54 car. After the 22 for Team Penske put a little distance on the 54. Last week, Kyle Busch chopped that ground down to just 18 points, and as they run now with Blaney struggling a bit and Busch in the race lead, it'd be just a 4-point lead for Team Penske at the end of the day, but we've still got a little bit of racing left to go in this one. At Chicagoland Speedway, the Saturday NASCAR Nationwide Series race today, featuring a half a dozen NASCAR Sprint Cup Series drivers, 4 of which will be in round 1 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup on Sunday. Some have fared better than others. You saw Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick racing up front. You saw Denny Hamlin with troubles on the pit lane there. Harvick had his hands full a few minutes ago racing with Chase Elliott. Aric Almirola's in that 98 here racing with Denny Hamlin. And Elliott Sadler for a spot Almirola running back in 15th position. Hamlin running in 6th, Harvick 2nd, and Kyle Busch 1st. Of course, tomorrow, round 1 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. First of 10 races.